Hi, and welcome to a new edition of the Boundary Breakers Collective podcast talk show. My name is Helena Demuynck. I am your host. I am a transformation guide for smart, conscious, and high achieving women that are all listening to this show. And what we are doing here is we are bringing women, some men also, depending, women that are challenging the status quo, that are challenging the idea that we have to do what society tells us, that we have to live by the boundaries that are around us. We want to be aware of those boundaries because most of them are invisible, or we are just living by them without asking the question why. And so what we are doing here is shaking things a little bit in order to give you the opportunity and show you the possibilities to live the life that you desire and that you deserve. And I am thrilled to be here today with Kimberly Jurgen. And Kimberly has spent decades mastering the art of career coaching, seamlessly blending her rich experience as a professional actor and screenwriter, yes, with her profound understanding of personal development. After graduating Emory University, Kimberly immersed herself in the world of improv and character creation, honing a deep-seated belief in the transformative power of curiosity. Using her curiosity-driven methodologies, she guides her clients as they evolve into curiosity warriors who lead more vibrant and fulfilling lives. Absolutely. So welcome, Kimberly. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to chat with you today.
Kimberly, curiosity warriors. We're talking boundary breakers, warriors, and breakers. I think that's pretty aligned. Tell me a little bit more about your definition of a curiosity warrior.
A curiosity warrior is someone who has curiosity infused into every aspect of their life. So they are no longer bound by assumptions that what other people think they should be doing, or what you assume other people think you should be doing, or other people's ideas of what is best for you, because that's what's best for them, but making sure that you are at the center of the decisions that you're making, which doesn't mean you don't discount, you're not discounting what other people want, but you are factoring yourself into. You get the first vote in everything that you do, everything that you think, everything that you aspire toward. Other people can have a vote too, but yours is the one that counts.
I love it. I love it. And Kimberly, you are supporting people to become these curiosity warriors. But you also have your own story because I was reading on your website that basically you are an introvert,
Mhm.
and yet you are very visible. You are showing up, you are using your voice for yourself to help other people. So tell us a little bit more about your story and how you became or how you used curiosity to open your world.
As an introvert, a lot of people get a different idea of what it means to be an introvert. Some people may have introvert tendencies, and some people are just shy, and some people are full on introvert. The idea of being an introvert really is how you experience the world. And so, as an introvert, I experience the world internally, which means I am taking in a whole lot of data at every given second. And that can feel sometimes very overwhelming. And so there are times where I just have to step back and recharge because it can be a bit much.
Mhm.
And so when I am speaking and sharing what is so important to me, because I feel like it can make such a difference in other people's lives, that fuels me through those moments of low battery, and like it becomes its own like adrenaline battery pusher. So that, yes, I am totally exhausted at the end of doing like an all-day masterclass.
Mhm.
It is absolutely exhausting for me, but I am so excited about the change that is possible for other people. And that is what keeps me going, even in those moments where I feel like it's all just a bit much.
That's beautiful. So basically, this is also about setting boundaries, and I believe this will relate to many people that are listening in here. It is about being aware of when you are giving too much and when you just need time or another setting in order to recharge your batteries, and not being afraid, not being ashamed, not feeling guilty to do that. Because I see a lot of people depleting because they don't, because they're always taking care of anybody else, and they never use the time for themselves in order to recharge their batteries. And they're not even aware that they're not doing that. They think that this is life, that life is so dreadful and so terribly hard and difficult, while it can be different, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the three aspects of curiosity: is curiosity about yourself, curiosity about people around you, and curiosity within your business. But curiosity within yourself means that you have to understand when you are feeling tension in your body, and what do you need to do about that? Sometimes you have to push through it, but sometimes you have to honor it and recognize this is what's happening. But too often, I think we are caught up in the idea again of those expectations. And all of those are assumed expectations, because nobody in that moment is saying you have to keep going. We just have in our own minds, that's what we're supposed to do. So we don't honor our own internal temperature barometer, tension meter, to see that, yeah, something's not in flow here, and we have to do something about it.
Yeah. What I also like about curiosity, that is that if you practice the discipline of curiosity, or if you build your curiosity muscle, it is such a great antidote to a fixed mindset. It is basically laying the open world for a growth mindset, because you're not judgmental. You're not like in a yes or no. You're like in all the shades that are in between, and you are exploring possibilities and opportunities. And it also generates conversations, because you're asking questions. You can ask them to yourself, like you say, curiosity internally. But also, if you are healthy, curious, then you have amazing conversations with other people, right?
Exactly. Part of curiosity, exactly, is about having no judgment with yourself and being okay with being vulnerable. Because when you truly understand yourself, then you know that it's okay to not always have the answers, because that is what curiosity is all about. It is about enjoying the quest for an answer, because there's a difference between asking questions and being curious. Attorneys will always say, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. That's not being curious. Okay. Curious means you're okay with whatever answer you may get, and you have no idea what it's going to be. It's like applying the scientific method. It's always about creating a hypothesis. I think this might happen, but I don't know. And that's where the curiosity will take you down this gorgeous rabbit hole of discovery, where you don't know what's around the next bend, but you are okay with whatever it is, because internally you are strong enough.
Yeah. Do you think you have to be courageous to be curious? Because like you say, you never know what's around the corner. And some people are basically very protective, or in protection mode, and they want to be in the status quo. And we're not here to be there. This is Boundary Breakers Collective. So do you think that courage also comes with curiosity?
Yes, I don't think it has to come before curiosity. Curiosity can actually build your courage.
I like
You
that.
become more brave the more curious you are. You think of a
Okay.
little child, many times they are just fearless, asking all kinds of questions that come into their minds, launching into sometimes dangerous places as they are exploring the world around them and getting to know it. But then at some point, we stop that curiosity. We stop wondering about the world. We start falling into assumptions and making decisions already to close that mental loop of what is the answer to this. So that by the time we reach 25, only 2% of us are even able to think outside the box. And to me, that is shocking.
It is. I don't know what to say. 2%, really?
Yes. And it's because we have so bought into the idea that we have to make quick decisions, and making quick decisions requires assumptions.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if you have a lot of information, then yes, you can act very quickly. So the more curious you are, the more data you are collecting, which allows you to act quickly. It allows you to pivot quickly and confidently, but you are doing it in a way that isn't bound by faulty reasoning,
Yeah.
but it's based on a wealth of information.
Yeah. So if this is true, Kimberly, then I think that we really need to give some advice on some practical ways that we can cultivate curiosity in our daily lives. For people listening in, what would you advise them if they want to build that curiosity muscle?
Be comfortable with starting small.
Okay.
Spend a day where you are just asking yourself how you feel about everything that you are doing. What do you want for lunch? What do you really want for lunch? If there were no limits, what would you really want for lunch today? What are you in the mood for today? And then you can decide, is that an option for me? Or am I going to go with the options that I have? Because that's another way that we fall into routine, is that we go, okay, I'm on a diet. These are the things I need to be eating. And we deny ourselves the reality of recognizing that we might want something else.
Mm.
So it doesn't mean that you're going to get everything you want. That's the song. You can't always get what you want, but you
Yeah.
have to honor that. You have to recognize that within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So ask yourself throughout the day, what is my favorite? For example, right now I'm drinking a glass of water. It's not necessarily my favorite, but it's what I'm drinking right now. It's what I have chosen. So I'm not just falling into routines, but I am choosing each of the things that I am doing, consciously choosing them. And your reasons for doing it are whatever your reasons are doing it for. And you don't have to justify them to yourself. That's the other thing. I find so many times people are justifying their choices. I'll go to the grocery store with my mom and she'll suddenly get into a conversation with the woman at the checkout about like why she is buying these things. I'm like, Mom, she really doesn't care.
Yeah.
But there is some part of her that needs to share that information.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with that, but it's just recognizing within yourself, what do you really want?
Yeah.
And then giving yourself the opportunity to go outside of what you would predictably do.
Yeah. It's going away from automatic pilot, isn't it?
Exactly.
So some people will say it's easy. I know people who tell me, like, okay, on Mondays, seriously, I'm not joking here. On Mondays, I eat chicken with French fries. On Tuesday, I eat pasta. On Wednesdays, etc., etc. And I say, okay, how does that make things interesting? And they tell me I don't have to think. I don't have to think. And I have one shopping list. My way of making lunch or dinner is, okay, what do I want? And what do I have? And how can I combine what I have into something that I want and that is healthy? And sometimes I have very interesting combinations and they don't always work out. This was amazing, but they're always healthy, but they're very different. And there's the opportunities. And so when I ask why you do this, they say it's easy. I don't have to think. You have people that they wear the same dresses every day. They wear like a beige trouser and a white t-shirt or a green t-shirt. I know people, they're very famous people. They all have the same things in their wardrobe, which is amazing. And then science says our brain is lazy. So it is good to have all these routines. And I guess in some way it is a safe way to live. It's certainly not breaking boundaries. But people that use that argumentation in order not to do these things or in order to resist to these tips or advice, Kimberly, what would you tell them?
I think that there is so much diversity in the way that we all operate and the way that each of our brains work. I am neurospicy. So the way that my brain works is different than the way that your brain works. And I honor those differences and I am excited about those differences and I am intrigued about those differences. But it also means that what helps me get through the world is going to be different than what helps you get through the world.
Mm-hmm.
There have been very famous thinkers throughout history that have been famous for wearing the same thing every day. You know, Steve Jobs did not have a wide range of wardrobe, but that was him. That was what worked for him. And I think
Yeah.
too often we look at what works for successful people and think, if I just graft that onto my life, that's what's going to work for me. When in fact, it's because he was in flow with what worked for him. That's why it was successful. So if it is in flow for you to have this regimented, this is what I'm going to be eating every day, and I'm not going to think about it or worry about it or anything else, that's okay. But I hope that when you are eating it, that you are consciously eating it, that you are in that moment eating it and asking yourself, is this the way that I really like chicken? If that's chicken day, then ask yourself, is there a different spice that I might like to put on this? Is there a different condiment that I might want to have on the side? Is this truly my favorite? I was making a peanut butter sandwich, and this was a huge aha moment for me. It's such a silly, mundane thing, making a peanut butter sandwich. And then all of a sudden I thought, this isn't my favorite. And so I was eating a brand of peanut butter that wasn't my favorite. I was eating the type, it was creamy, and that's because that's my mom's favorite. And so I was falling into this routine and I hadn't even thought about it. I just on autopilot was making peanut butter sandwiches whenever I just needed that quick little snack without any conscious thought of each of the decisions that go into this one that I'm making right now. How much of that has been routine?
Yeah.
And so I shook it up, and now I buy both crunchy and smooth, because there are some things that are better with smooth and there are some things that are better with crunchy. And you know what? I am an adult. I can have both in my pantry if I want to.
Exactly.
So choosing and being mindful in those moments and questioning things, so that even if there is something that does benefit you by having, I'm going to eat this regimen, it's Taco Tuesday, every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Okay, awesome. Is there any way that you can play with what you put in your taco?
Yeah.
Are you really eating it the way that you like it, or are you eating it the way that you ate it last week and the week before and the week before and the week before? So you have forgotten to ask yourself, is this how I like it now? Because our tastes change.
Also, yeah.
And we have to allow ourselves to evolve.
Yeah. I love the way how you combine this autopilot routine things with the power of curiosity. I think this is very inspirational and inviting also for the audience who are in these routine things. Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now let's jump into something else, Kimberly. Because you were saying also that curiosity is a basic for leadership, for self-leadership. So if you look at your own life in general, how has curiosity helped you? Can you give like some examples of how it has helped you to get where you are now and to book the successes that you have?
Sure. I am an actor. And so I only became an actor actually through a curious investigation, because I didn't start my college career with that as my goal. I started pre-med. I was a biology major. And life evolved while I was in college. And then there came a point, we were getting close, junior year. We've got to make a decision now. And I had been floating through biology major and then a physics major, computer science major, classical studies major. So studying the past, the present, the theoretical, the grounded, like the whole world of it. And ironically, I had a acting coach back when I was in high school who had given me the advice to go to a liberal arts college, not conservatory, and to major in life. Now, I wasn't planning on going into entertainment, into theater. So I just nodded and smiled and said, "Oh, that's a great idea," not really understanding what in the world she was talking about. But that is what I actually did, was I went to college and I majored in life. And I learned so many things about other cultures and about how much bigger the world was than I had previously encountered in the relatively small town that I was raised in.
Yeah.
And so there came the point where I was like, okay, I have to decide where I'm going now, because I have got all these credits, but not enough to get me over the graduation line. So what do I really want to do? And I realized that there was one consistency throughout college. There were two. One, I was always taking crazy PE courses. So I took a PE course in sailing and snow skiing and ballroom dance and racquetball and fencing, all kinds of amazing, wonderful things that I got to explore and learn how to do. And then I had also been doing theater from the very beginning all the way through. And that was the moment where I decided, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Because before that, I had never really thought of it as a viable option. Like, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay my rent as an actor? That's not something that people do. But then in that moment, I just decided this is what I need to be doing. And it was because I allowed myself to stop and think and reflect on what was going on. What did I loved about everything that I was doing? And what did I feel the next step for me should be? And I booked my first professional gig while I was still in college before I graduated. I continued booking jobs, doing a lot of commercials, doing live theater, so many things there in Atlanta. And that is where curiosity got me going right in the beginning. And as an actor and a writer, curiosity is essential for me to understand the world that this character is going through, that's so different from any experience that I have ever had. I have played serial killer characters. That's not part of my personal experience. I have played all kinds of roles, love comedy, love drama, and being able to dive into that, put on their clothes, step into their shoes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I guess
authentically live their
curiosity also
life.
helps you there, no?
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
curiosity has been baked in throughout
Yeah.
my career. And but I didn't really start applying it to my personal life until much later.
Mm. Tell me more.
There was some trauma that I had when I was a child.
Mm.
And through that, one of the ways that my brain dealt with it is it just decided these memories don't exist anymore. And so they got locked up. And so there are some years, like, I have no memory of some years of my life. And so little by little, through using curiosity, I've been able to piece some of that together and to find it and to recollect those memories. But part of my brain doing that also meant that I wasn't supposed to be curious about that. So that was how my brain had decided about my personal life. We're not going to be curious because it's too traumatic. It's too dangerous. We don't go there. So all of my personal stuff, we're just going to lock it in a closet. So even as I was an adult, I stopped being curious about myself because my brain had turned that switch off. So that might be one of the reasons that actually led me to being an actor, is because I loved being curious about those characters because my brain wouldn't let me be curious about me.
Whoa.
So who knows how, like, everything shakes out in the end. But now I have gotten more curious about me. And that is where I dive into understanding the things that I have experienced in my life, the remembered things. And we were talking earlier about being vulnerable, is knowing that it is okay for me to not remember everything.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. And as those memories come, that's okay too. But I am not going to live in tension inside my body because I feel like there's something missing inside me, because there isn't. I am 100% whole and in alignment with who I am and who I am meant to be. And that is how I can show up every single day, even though there are like some Swiss cheese moments, but that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Kimberly. And I'm sure that this also will relate to many of the people listening in here. And basically, what I hear is that curiosity helps you, but you are also aware that there are limits to curiosity and that you listen to what is good for you through introspection in order to allow curiosity to go as far as good for you or healthy for you. And that you can make baby steps and just do these things. And I'm sure that this will also open possibilities or open the eyes of people listening in here. Do you, because this is deep, do you have any advice for those people that are in a similar situation and that also could use this curiosity in order to find some opening?
Yes, I would say give yourself grace for who you are and the journey that you've taken. I don't fault myself for not being curious before I became curious.
Mm-hmm.
It happens when it happens, and whenever it happens is perfect. Because I look at life as it's just a series of dominoes that are lined up. And we get to choose, like you can always, have you ever seen like those people who are amazing at building like those incredibly intricate domino tracks?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
I
spectacular.
love those. It's
Yeah.
just amazing, but it's also a great metaphor for life because everything that happens is because of the domino that was in front of it. And it
Mhm.
happened because of the domino that's in front of it. And it happened because of the domino that's in front of it. So, whatever domino we are at right now is the perfect one that we are supposed to be at.
Mhm.
And so embracing that, not judging it, that's another thing that curiosity really opens up for you is it diminishes your judgment of yourself and a quick judgment of others.
Mhm.
Because that when you're judging others, it usually is coming from assumptions.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
you don't know enough about them or about their circumstances or about
Mhm.
what are the dominoes that led up to this particular moment. And if you judge them for this domino, then you are not taking into account everything that came before.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
It's
their
loving
domino might have been
in mind.
impacted by that side domino too. Somebody else's domino may have completely upset your track. That happens too.
Of course, it's systemic. It's not only your own domino building thing. It's basically we are interacting. Absolutely. Yeah. I-
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Good.
remembering to breathe and just giving yourself that sense of grace that
Mm.
that you start where you start.
Yeah.
And if today you're going to start by picking up a pen and you're just going to get curious about that pen and how many questions can you come up with about that pen? Well, what color is the ink? What is it made of? How long have I had this pen? What does it feel like in my hand?
Mm.
How well does it write? Is it smooth? All the questions that you can ask where typically we grab a pen and we start writing with it.
Mm. Yeah.
But that's a way that just look around your room. You can start simply by looking at something and then how many questions can you think of about whatever that thing is that your eye falls on?
Yeah. Seems like a nice practice also to do with your child or with your spouse in order to practice this curiosity questioning because it is about asking open questions. It is about asking questions that are not obvious, going deeper. And it seems like something that you can also do with children that they probably might amaze us or surprise us in terms of how much more curiosity they are. And then it builds off, of course, through society and all the other things that are locking us in. Might be a very nice exercise. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. Applying it to family is beautiful because
Mm.
I've worked with some clients who are having difficulties communicating with their teenage children. And it's because they are asking questions like, why did you do that? Well, that's a confrontation question. That's not going to get you the results that you are looking for.
Yeah.
So, how can you craft questions that are really getting curious about who your teenager is.
Mm.
And again, what are the dominoes that led up to this decision that you are not happy with?
Yeah,
Asking
absolutely.
those questions can help so much. But yeah, if you sit around the dinner table together, just let that be a thing. It's just let it be like a question time, but it has to be open and it has to be free. And
Yeah.
definitely one of, I think, a sad thing that happens every time I hear an adult tell a child to stop asking questions.
Mm.
That just, oh, that hurts me so much, because those are like the first blocks that start getting between us and our curiosity and end up getting to this place where we can't think outside the box anymore because we have
Yeah.
been told to stop asking questions because we're annoying an adult.
Mm. Yeah.
So thinking, what's a different way you can say that? Go write that question down. And in 1 hour, we'll go through all of the questions that you have, because I have to focus on this right now. What else can you do to encourage their curiosity rather than to start putting a dampen on it?
Yeah. Beautiful. Last topic, Kimberly. Curiosity and business. What's your view on that? How can curiosity contribute to business decision making, business growth? Because this is also something that you are involved in your work, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love working with folks. Typically, I will start working with a client in their sales approach, because so many people don't enjoy selling. The idea of selling it just rubs their fur the wrong way.
Yeah.
So this is where you can apply curiosity right out of the gate and adjust the way that you approach selling by adjust the way that you feel when you are being sold to. Because typically that's what's going on. Again, it's the assumption, it's the status quo. If we don't like being sold to, then we are going to assume whoever we're talking to is going to have that same feeling. And that's going to get in the way of us being able to talk authentically with them. So I look at selling as simply helping someone make an empowered buying decision.
Mm.
That's it. Whether
Yeah.
they say yes or no,
Reframing.
yeah, I'm not attached to the outcome, yes or no. If they say yes, fantastic, because I know I am going to be able to deliver and make huge changes in their life because of the tools and the strategies that we're going to come up with that are perfect for them and for what their natural flow is. But if they say no, that's okay too, because they've just saved me a whole lot of time of beating my head against the wall because they wouldn't have listened to anything that I said.
Yeah.
And that is frustrating. If you have ever had a client that you felt like they just tuned off everything that you were saying and they were going to keep doing their things the way that they have always done it, you can't really help that person. So I would much rather have somebody step in saying, yes, I'm so excited to work with you. I see that you have got something that's going to add so much value to my life. Let's get to work. Then I am all in for that.
Mm.
So I love it when people say no to me.
Mm.
I love it even more when people say yes, because I know what's on the other side for
Yeah.
them.
Mm.
But that's part of it. So sometimes it's just shifting that assumption of what they are thinking, or
Mm.
shifting the feeling that you have when you hear a no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm an actor, and so as an actor, we hear no all the time. As a
Probably.
writer, same thing. We hear no all the time. So I have been comfortable with hearing no for a while.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you think about it, you have heard no a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something different when it comes to business. And so this is where getting curious within yourself. And so when I'm working with my clients, we really are working on all three parts, because the assumptions and the issues that you have with growing your business and the reason why it's stagnating is because there is probably some misalignment in you and you are projecting an assumption into the outcome.
Mm.
And if we
Yeah.
can take that away, it's going to free you up so that you can then accomplish all of the things that you're wanting for your business.
Beautiful. It's obvious how curiosity fits in this Boundary Breakers Collective because it has the same intention in terms of challenging the status quo, challenging the in the box thinking, and also getting away from routines and things that we don't even question anymore. And if we want to change, if we want to move, if we want to grow, then that is exactly what we need to do. And curiosity, I think, is the number one tool to do that. So thank you so much, Kimberly, for bringing that to us and for having these anecdotic stories around it and the examples. I'm sure that it is for many people, they can really relate to the examples that you gave, the personal ones, the business ones. And I'm looking forward to continue this conversation with you in another session because I'm sure that there's a lot more to say about this. But for a first session, I believe that Curiosity and Boundary Breakers has a very successful marriage. And I thank you for that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. And I hope that you stay curious. And I hope that everyone who is breaking boundaries stays so curious and just dives in.
Yeah, wonderful. And so all the information about Kimberly, how you can get in touch with her, what she does will be in the comments section here below. So check the links, check her website, check her Instagram. She has amazing videos. We were talking about that before we had this conversation, how consistent she is and how she's full of value in everything that she offers. So check her out. Be curious about Kimberly. That's a good slogan. Be curious about Kimberly. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here and looking forward to seeing you on our next editions. And take care. Be curious. Explore the world. You deserve it and the world deserves it. Bye for now.